Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John's reports for the 21st. Well, we saw some nice range the other day. We moved up, got back to the ABM yellow, but was unable to hold it. We had a clear signals when that took place. We'll look at that on the 5K chart, and we subsequently faded from there. Right now on the ABM magenta, supporting on there, which is just very close to the 61% line. Pretty consistent within that. We've been in this continuation of a down move from the shakeout indicator, as well as the crossover that happened on a declining power mode 2 cross. So this has all been very negative. Market's done fairly decent to hold on, and the cross here of the steel above orange and moving up could provide a little bit of support, but still we're at a general weak bias. I think it's the easiest way to describe it. It was clearer on the NASDAQ here because NASDAQ has been leading, so we were expecting the fill of this positive extreme that took place. That brought it all the way down to the 11,687 and dropped a little bit below that as it hit the 50% mark. So clean 50% mark here, that becomes a critical level, and that's what I'll be watching because this is where the market's being led at, and so a break of the 50% would be catastrophic in some people's minds. Then you'd be talking about the lows that took place back here, which not that critical at this particular stage, but just definitely worth watching. We've got some short-term buyer interest at this particular point, starting the day out, and we've never dipped below the red line here. So it could be enough to give it the support that's needed. The euro continuing its press higher on a strong turnaround move here, and that was pretty clean from a DOC standpoint, no question about that. And gold beginning a slow little spike up as uncertainty grows. From an intraday standpoint, so looking at the 5K, this is the PNT2, just for reference. And so we started up at the highs. We made new ones, and then we started to get the DOC spreads, and as those flattened out, we started to get basing right along 50%. That led a move back once the market opened up here to the highs, and then once that happened, we ended up with another DOC spread, short signal, power move 2 fading, shakeout had dipped, and that led to a move all the way back down to retesting the dip below the red line from right over here. And that's exactly where we went to the lows, and wonderful when it just corresponds to that zero line. It's like a perfect retrace. Love it when the algos are that on it. And then we started to base build here as we came across, and the shakeout started to move positive. We got the dotted green line, which represented the first buy, and then secondarily we ended up with the blue candle buy, and that was followed also by a P2 pivot with the green. So even if you were giving it a break right here, holding on, this became clear that we were going to be moving to the upside, and that's exactly what we did. We skyrocketed all the way up to new highs, got it back up to 34.70, and then it was a clean DOC spread sell, pretty elevated from a DOC red standpoint, but the 13.5, we know that that's not sustainable. And so we had all these positive extremes, getting right here at the low of 34.42. And that was the target, and we hit that target, came down slightly below it, and then likewise started that basing. And by the time we moved across here from the secondary lift, it came up, but this is what I always look for, is that dip of steel below cyan and then back above, because once you're in this no DOC spread run, this is where those pivots below cyan, and if it was going to continue from a strength standpoint, you would have that nice dip below, and in this particular case, the orange and everything dips. This was all looking good right here until this right there, and that's where the orange moves above, steel goes below, cyan, and then you're just waiting to see if that turns around at all, coming back up. And in this particular case, it didn't, nor did you end up with a dip of orange back below green, DOC red here, as well as a green moving back above it. That happens later on, right over here. And that was the first beginning of the potential for turnaround move. Shakeout had a little bit of difficulty, so that made the new lows, but then turned around and started the updraft, took us all the way back up under positive extremes that led to this low right here, and sure enough, we just filled that back in after hours. So beautiful moves from a nice clean standpoint of back up and down, and I don't think you can object to any of that. If we look at it from a power mode 2 cross, similar configuration, almost identical, because we're getting tighter with those setups, but exploring really strong this relationship between when we have the no steel reset and these crosses of the orange to the steel in relation to the cyan become very powerful as far as recognizing when to begin to place stops for both short runs and incorporating all of that into it, because what we'll get sometimes is these short buys where it'll turn around buy, and maybe 3 or 4 bars later it flips to a sell configuration, and like in this particular case, right about here, after all of the buy configuration, it's just not a sustainable one. It happened to be at the 50% mark too, and then it faded back. So it's all good as far as tightening up intraday capabilities and expanding that into 50K charts and so on. So looking forward to really honing that one in to really give us super tight capability as far as seeing not just short intermediate runs, but the broader trend as well. So as always though, if there's new and interesting stuff, I will certainly put them on the Skype chat, and I'll probably go over some of these situations as they're happening so that you can see the relationship of how it works. And what I'm going to try will be a numeric marking that will appear. We'll get rid of some of the extra ones that are referring to relationships that you see, these negative numbers that are taking place right there. And this will just give a cleaner capability of where you're seeing a green trend or a red trend, and the idea that it's about to flip. I've always played around with this idea of a stoplight where you have green for your long go, then a yellow warning that it's about to flip, and then obviously the red, and may even do that with a dot show me, so that a little dot appears, and that would make it easy to see that, like we have with the DOC rising. As always though, I will keep you updated. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.